The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
How are you, Mr. Higgins?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, all the politicians at Government Center. Good morning, how are you? Mr. Mayor, it's good to have you tune in. We appreciate your viewership.
Yes, we do. Chip cannot be here with us today because he is over there fighting for the rights of our retirees in the city over at the PEC meeting, which they gave him less than 24 hours notice on, which means there must be some kind of trick they're trying to pull. But before we go anywhere, I have to talk about United Airlines, okay? And we got some great new mottos for them. And first, their brand new, get this, brand new logo, which will now appear on all marketing materials. There you go. Let us reaccommodate you, United, with the big U and the blood stains along the side. Here are some great new marketing mantras. We put hospital in hospitality. United Airlines.
We have an offer you can't refuse.
That's right.
Really?
Flight, $400. Checking a bag, $25. Getting dragged down the aisle, priceless. Do you want a window seat or a concussion? We have an offer you can't refuse. No, really. Tell us your safe word at check-in. And now serving punch. And like I said, and of course, the new logo, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for flying United Airlines. You can't write this stuff, people. You cannot write it.
No.
I'm telling you. And you know, when this all blew up all over the internet, 250 million Chinese watched that video within the first couple of hours. 250 million. And they're now touting a mantra to boycott United Airlines. That's 1 billion people out in China. That's a huge, huge marketing faux pas.
Well, you also have the doctors. The doctor got dragged off, so I don't think you have too many medical personnel taking United anytime soon.
I'm not going to be looking at United anytime soon. But you know, the worst part about it, I think, is the fact that they've come out after the fact to say, oh, we're sorry, but we could do this. And they lost $250,000 in stock pricing yesterday. Okay? $250,000. Okay? Or was it $250 million? I can't remember now.
All I know is...
I know it was $250 million. I have the number. $250 million in their stock value in one day. One day! One day! $250 million. Was that seat for that employee worth that much money?
Yeah.
Was it worth that much money? I'm telling you, you can't write
another
it.
TWA. Remember TWA?
Oh yeah.
And, what was the one with the brown? The one that took the swan dive in Florida.
Oh God, was that People Express?
Yes, People's Express.
Yeah, I loved People Express.
Paid on the plane.
That's right. I love People Express. $29 airfares.
And they didn't charge you till you were up in the air. So,
That's right.
So if the check bounced, where was the jurisdiction? You know?
Well, you know, Dave Sullivan announced his retirement from the director's post.
Yeah, his last day is tomorrow.
Well, it's actually the 30th is when it takes effect.
Yeah, but he's leaving the building tomorrow, and the rest is all sick and vacation.
Right, sick, vacation, holiday.
And all that good stuff.
And interim director Timothy Barrow is going to serve as the interim executive director. Now, Roger Taché went out and said that he believes they should find an interim executive director and pay him a stipend of $100 a day.
Well, that's what they're paying Mr. Barrow.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. They want to pay him $100 a day. That's $500 a week. That is $26,000 a year. The average home in Fall River doesn't even make that for a family of 4. I guess it does pay off well to be a political whore. It gives you the greatest effect in the world.
You know what bothers me the most is the bottom of page 1, where it says that the mayor said within 2 weeks an alternative interim director will be announced, and this is the kicker. He said he met with several commissioners on the issue after Monday night's meeting. That is called deliberation. That is called buying between commissioners. That is called open meeting law complaint, Mayor.
That's called serial deliberation, baby, serial deliberation. But here's the thing, okay? The mayor was walking around like the fox had just taken over the chicken coop. He felt like he won.
No, he looked like a peacock.
Yeah, he really did. You know, he's walking around strutting his stuff thinking, I won. I won, I won, I won. The little dictator won, okay? The boy who would be king.
I like
if you're missing this, people, you really have a problem. Because I'm telling you.
The city's mayor has a lot of say in who will be hired as the new head of the housing authority. I think it's 5 commissioners who need to deliberate in a publicly posted open meeting.
That's right.
Backroom deals ain't going to make it, and there will be open meeting law complaints filed. I can say that's coming without a doubt. Just looking at the, he says, we spoke last night about a potential interim. That's buying between deliberation with a serial deliberator.
That's right. Well, here's the thing.
But
all right,
don't forget,
Mary Sahadi.
This is Fall River. Laws don't count here.
That's right. The law doesn't count here. But Mary Sahadi was appointed as a commissioner to the Fall River Housing Authority Board. She represented the Fall River Housing Authority as the auditor to the retirement board. We have it on tape. At the same time, she was representing Diamond. At the same time, she was representing the city of Fall River. That's a conflict.
The Swansea Board of Assessors.
And the Swansea Board of Assessors. But remember, she's the one that said that this isn't illegal. This isn't a violation. Okay? When Swansea was going after their old assessor.
Their assessor. The principal assessor.
Right. Because that assessor had a job in Attleboro and somewhere else, and, there was complaints of, misappropriation of money, everything else. But if you look at the 4 years that Dave Sullivan handled the housing authority, there wasn't a lot of violations or complaints that were filed, and there were no controversies. But let's look. The Herald News posted the timeline, so let's look at it. January 14th, the Fall River Housing Authority voted 3-1 to appoint David Sullivan. All right. April 26th, Sullivan resigns from his job as a state representative for the 6th Bristol District of Fall River, Freetown, and Berkeley, a post he held for 16 years. The 29th, Sullivan starts his job at the Housing Authority. March 15, 2016, Housing Authority Commissioners vote to suspend longtime Housing Authority manager Emilio Estacio after a reported issue of harassment. Sullivan recommended the suspension to the commissioners. January 9, 2017, Housing Authority Commissioners unanimously voted to suspend Estacio and Director of Facilities Management Michael Farrell following complaints alleging harassment and retaliation. The commission sidestepped the Housing Authority policy on employee discipline that would have required the Housing Authority management to handle the case and make a recommendation to the board. February 15th, an attorney for Estacio and Farrell claimed that they were targeted for the suspension because of their involvement with a federal investigation regarding possible corruption at the Housing Authority. February 23rd, in response to claims the commissioner meeting that Sullivan had known for at least 4 years about an alleged FBI investigation into corruption at the Housing Authority, Sullivan says, I have never been directly contacted, never been notified of an investigation. However, I am aware that through rumor and statements that there have been a report that a number of people have been interviewed by the FBI and I believe the Inspector General's office. The fate of 2 Housing Authority employees is pending, and a 5th hearing is scheduled on Thursday, which will be Sullivan's last official day on the job. March 30th, 2017, the State Department of Housing and Community Development gives Sullivan and the Fall River Housing Authority the green light to dispose of 3 dilapidated properties in the Corky Road neighborhood, which have stood empty and decaying for more than a decade. We finally got the acknowledgement that we need to move forward. April 7th, on a local radio show, Mayor Jaisal Correa says, you're going to see some shakeup at the Housing Authority very, very soon. Sullivan says Correa has never contacted him before about his plans. April 10th, Sullivan announces his retirement. Now in January, on January 30th, the day before my birthday, Jaisal Correa was at the Niagara Neighborhood Association. And he was speaking about the fact that he was going to fire Dave Sullivan, or have him fired, because of corruption, misappropriation of money. I have it on tape. And I tried to load it today, but it's in a different format, so I've got to have the format changed. But this is getting to be absolutely ridiculous. This has gone beyond ridiculous.
This is called the start of the election season for 2017. Isn't the
Exactly.
Housing Authority the political football
And
year?
every election cycle, it becomes the political football. But the problem that we have with this political football is there some serious, and I do mean serious, validity to any of the claims that are being made?
You never
Any at
know.
all. And which political whore is going to be
The fall guy.
appointed? Well, no, first, be appointed to either interim or new executive director. And secondly, who's going to be the fall guy? You know, there was a movie in National Treasure,
Yeah,
okay, in the last scene. And they said, somebody has to go to jail.
yeah.
Somebody has to go to jail. Well, will somebody go to jail this time? Because nobody ever goes to jail in Fall River. We always get a finding of no finding. There is a finding of no finding.
No, Alan Jarbeck went to the big house back with the fence at Durfee and Tommy Alecrim.
Well, that was a long time ago, but you know
That was a different generation.
that
I
was-
mean, you know, the
exactly.
mayor wasn't even born then.
right. And you know, it's kind of sad that we see this happening. Okay, we've had threats, harassment, threats of criminal complaints against people who are standing up for the rights of tenants. We have threats of criminal complaints against family members who are standing up for the rights of their parents or their loved ones. We have, you know, threats of, you name it, we've got threats all over the place coming out of the Housing Authority. And we've known this has been there for years. We have facilities managers that manage these projects who walk the fine line of elder abuse
Yeah.
and tenant abuse when dealing with these tenants. And I can list a few names right off the top of my head, but I won't. Okay? But it's the truth. And it can't be this way. People cannot be afraid to live in their homes, even though it's in a housing project or an elder facility. That is intimidation. That is abuse. And if you're dealing with an elder, it's not a good thing. And I'm going to tell you now, point your finger all you want. But we got proof. And if we have to use it, we will. It's that simple. Because there can be none of this. None of this at all. And that type of intimidation goes not just from, you know, lower management, that goes all the way up to the top. And it's got to stop. It has to stop. And it has to stop today. Maybe Dave Sullivan's leaving is a blessing in disguise to the Housing Authority, but I think it's going to be more of a detriment.
But
Because-
we do wish Dave best of health and best of luck in his
definitely.
retirement.
I mean, I've known
he's
Dave.
definitely earned it.
I've known Dave for many years. He and I have had some disagreements, but you know what? We've always been civil to each other.
At the end of the day, it's always been professional.
That's
not
right. It is
personal,
always
Dave.
professional, and he's been a very easy gentleman to work with, to talk with, to resolve some issues with.
And he was a good state rep for the 7th District. I mean, the 6th District.
It was a great representative for a number of years. And, you know, an elected politician. He's an alumnus at Bristol Community College. He used to come here regularly to commencements. So, you know, these are people that basically had some connections with the community. And somewhere along the lines, a lot of these people, and I'm not saying David did, but a lot of these people get lost in the political quagmire of hell and high water. And we can't have that anymore. We just can't. And maybe someday people will understand that, like me, hate me, whatever the case may be, you have to understand that it's you that has to hold these people accountable. Yesterday, while I was in Government Center, and I served some criminal complaints on some people for investigation, I met with a former department head in Fall River, and we talked briefly. And he said, you know what? As much as people may not like you, I have a great deal of respect for you because what you're doing is exactly what we should have been doing for years, holding ourselves accountable. You and many others are doing exactly what needs to be done. And I applaud you for that. Because keeping these people honest and keeping them accountable is what is necessary. Because in Fall River, we've never had it. And you know what? It's right. When I get phone calls from Georgia, from a friend of ours, Patrick, that says,
Yes.
I love what you're doing, okay, you know.
And he will be watching this show because I will send the link down to him.
Oh, yeah, you know, it's amazing what we see. And it's amazing how often we see it. But, what can you do? Well, you know, we got some Make It Here updates.
Oh, you mean they're going to reopen a mill and get some jobs?
Who knows?
That's how we used to make it here.
Yeah, well, we don't make much here, let me tell you.
We make hot dogs and we make...
Now,
Dunkin'
I
Donuts.
want everyone to remember, and remember this very clearly, okay? A major component, big thing that he was trying to sell this whole thing on was the summer event, okay? He promised a large summer event. No longer going to happen.
Yes, it is. It's going to be him getting his nomination paper signed.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's gonna be the
City
big event.
Administrator Kathy Viveris and the mayor blaming the city council's refusal to transfer $20,000 from the mayor's budget from a salary line item to expenses. That's bull. That is bull. Okay? It was never feasible when he presented this. It took the Chamber of Commerce an entire year to put together an event. An entire year to put Fall River Celebrates America on. And they didn't generate any money. The amount of money they generated was pennies on, for each hour. And the people of Fall River, you people that I'm talking to out there, okay? I want you to hear this. It is not the city's responsibility to entertain you. It is not the city's responsibility to give you a job. It is the city's responsibility to provide services. Services. Police,
Services, that's like
fire,
picking up trash.
education, trash. And trash isn't even a requirement. The city can turn around tomorrow and say, we're getting out of the trash business, which I've suggested they do for a long time.
That's what they do in Delaware.
It's what they do in Florida. It's what they do everywhere.
Yep.
The problem is that we don't do it in Fall River. And until people realize that it is not the city's responsibility to hold your hand, to take you to the movies in the park, okay, to take you to a carnival or an event or a block party downtown and block the traffic for everybody, it's not the city's responsibility to pay for the great feast of the Holy Ghost. Okay? That is a violation of every section of the law.
But they do it every year.
But they do it every year. That is not the way it is. And just so you know, Webster's does define the Great Feast of the Holy Ghost, those religious feasts, as a carnival. As a carnival, like it or not.
You know, I'm surprised that Kathy and the mayor are blaming the city council's refusal to transfer the $20,000 because, as you know, CJ, I was very instrumental in getting that transfer killed because they couldn't get it on the agenda correctly.
Right.
And violated the open meeting law 3 times trying to get that thing through.
Right. But you know, the
I'll take credit for killing that 20,000.
you know, the problem we have is the RFP for this rebranding campaign is questionable. It was awarded to somebody who graduated with him or who was with him at PC. They talked about doing this long before the RFP went out. So again, this is where you have a political whore getting a payback from the 6th floor.
RFP.
Okay.
Revenue for Providence?
Yeah, exactly.
Really freaking poor. That's us.
That's it. That's Fall River really freaking poor for the RFP.
Yep.
Okay? But, like you said, the RFP for Providence. You know what I mean? It's just, repeat that phrase so people can hear it.
Revenue
For Providence. That's right. And that's what's happening here.
Every time you see an RFP awarded by our good friend Jaisal,
Yep.
you look
And
at the
it's always
billing
a
address,
Rhode Island business.
You
A
know,
Rhode Island business.
And then we have the recycling thing. Where are they out of? Providence?
Well,
or
yeah, but no.
Pawtucket,
Now they're saying they're out of New Bedford because in Rhode Island, they can't operate unless the court says they can.
Yeah, they're
So they're
persona
trying to
non grata
circumvent
with
a
the
court
courts over
order. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, nothing like breaking the law at every turn you get.
Oh, wait a minute. There's United States Code, there's Massachusetts general law, and then there's the Fall River way of doing things.
That's right.
Not even close.
You know,
I don't even think Neil Gorsuch could straighten out Fall River.
oh God.
And you know, this Make It Here, when he announced that night, you and I were at the government center, and they put the logo on the walls of the government center, and that lasted about 3 days, and now we're back to blue and green and red and everything else.
You know, it's.
But the logo is on his letterhead.
We have seen these type of campaigns waste more city dollars than we want to count, and we've seen it for so long.
And how soon till Citibank sues us for stealing their trademark?
Well, no, you know, yeah, because we don't have it in writing or anything. So, and again, we paid $100,000 for plagiary.
Yeah.
Let's just plagiarize it. It's just a wonderful thing. We'll plagiarize it.
Didn't Joe Biden drop out of the 88 or 92 election because he got a plagiarism complaint against him?
Something like that, you know.
But it's well and good in Fall River.
I know.
Except at Bristol Community College. Students, if you're watching this, make sure you cite everything.
Hey, you know, the state lawmakers say that the state formula miscalculates education costs by over $1 billion. Okay, the 24-year-old formula comes up short by $1 to $2 billion when it comes to projecting the real cost of public education each year, according to a group of lawmakers and educational experts who unveiled a new proposal on Monday. You have to laugh because here we are screaming about net school spending and how we can't meet it in Fall River. And I spoke with Dr. Malone at the neighborhood meeting, and I spoke to our chief operating officer, Ken Pacheco, in regards to our transportation contract. And I said, why do we have to have 10 contracts for transportation? Why do we have to have a contract for the cabs, a contract for this bus company, contract for that bus company? It's not a true contract. Actually, to me, it looks like bid rigging.
It's favoritism.
No, it's bid rigging.
Yeah.
I want A, B, and C. You get D, E, and F, and I'm going to bid this for D, E, and F, and you bid this for A, B, and C, and your bid will be higher than mine, so I'll get that because that's all I want, and you want this, so that's all you want. Oh, and we're going to give a few to the cab companies.
Yeah, it's called collusion.
Yes, and it's called bid rigging. It's illegal. It's difficult to prove. But if you now change that to one contract, one, not 10, one contract.
One vendor who can
One
subcontract
vendor,
out to the
right?
other cab
Let
companies?
them subcontract out to whoever they want, but it's one contract. Then you'll get some real companies in here, like First Student Corp and Laidlaw, and all these companies come in, and they will bid for the contract. They'll get the contract, and they in turn will subcontract it out. It is not Fall River's job to make sure that town taxi stays in business. It is not Fall River's job to make sure that Vets Cab stays in business.
That's now the Fall River Taxi Company on their
Okay.
cab now.
I don't care what they call it, all right? City Hall, town, whatever.
They've had
It's not
17
Fall
names.
River's job to keep you in business,
No.
okay? When you can't keep the people of Fall River comfortable, when you can't render services to the handicapped appropriately, now you have one van. I'm so happy for that company.
Well,
Thank God.
The other problem with the contracts is they have 7 or 8 different contracts. It's very difficult. Not
Right, you
that
can't manage
difficult,
it.
But to follow the money.
Right, you can't manage
And,
it.
you
But
know-
here's the thing, and you know, we've proven this, and actually Ken Pacheco proved this also. These companies like Cozy or whoever are calling saying, we need another bus because the bus is full. Wait a minute, I've only got 22 people on a bus that holds 55. What's that about? Oh, well, it's full. So he took a ride. Well, guess what he found out? Okay, Johnny is cleared for the bus. But Johnny's brother and sister are not, but they take the bus too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay? And the same thing all the way down the line. It's the same thing with the cabs. They get paid by the child. Well, if the cab's going to the school, Johnny's brother or sister gets in the cab too, so we pay for two. But we're not getting reimbursed for two, we're only getting reimbursed for one.
Yep.
And this is why the contracts are no good. Okay? And it's because parents, yes, you parents, you're lazy. I'm going to be hated today. You parents are lazy. Have your kid walk to school.
I'll tell you, before 1967, when I moved to Swansea, I was a student of Spencer Boarding School, and I lived in the Highlands. And I didn't have a cab ride. I didn't have a bus ride. I didn't know what a school bus was till I moved to Swansea. I used to have to walk to Spencer Boarding School, and before that, Holy Name School. And of course, back in those days, we used to go home for lunch, which was a great thing.
Well, I can say the same thing. I used to walk, and granted, for me, it wasn't far. It was across the street. I used to walk to the Pine Street School, and then I used to walk to the Lincoln School. Then I walked to the Cuss, and my first couple of years at the Pine Street School, we went home for lunch.
Yeah.
Okay? And we walk home for lunch, and then we go back, and I remember because I was a patrol leader, and I had my little badge, and I and my friend George. Yep. Hey, George, how are you? It's always good to talk to you online, and see you when you come back around here. But George and I used to go out, and we used to have our patrol leader badges and belts, and we'd stand out there controlling the traffic, and we had a great time. And we walked to school.
Fun days.
Yeah, we walked to school. And we had fun walking to school.
And we didn't have to worry about pedophiles coming by and
we walked
drugs.
And when we had to walk to Diamond or to Durfee, we'd walk there. And Diamond had buses.
Yeah.
Durfee didn't. And when we walked to Durfee, you walked through Oak Grove Cemetery. And it was an educational experience just walking through the cemetery.
Yep, so I had Lizzie on the way by.
Yeah, you had fun walking to school. And guess what? Back then, our kids didn't look like little weebles.
Yeah.
Okay? Because today they don't walk to school because mom and dad drive them to school 3 blocks. They sit at home in front of their TV set playing Xbox or Sony PlayStation or Nintendo
on
Wii.
Facebook telling everybody that they just cleaned their room.
Right, and they're on Facebook complaining about, oh, my boyfriend hates me and blah, 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 and he's paying more attention to Mary than he's paying attention to me, and my girlfriend hates me, and she's playing with Bob, and blah, 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 blah.
Back in the days, we'd be outside playing on the street, street lights came on, or
you went home.
Or somebody in the neighborhood would yell, hey, Pedro, supper, and everybody went home.
Yeah, exactly.
Those street lights came on, that was an automatic warning sign. You need to have your butt in your house very quickly.
That's right.
Curfew is on.
And this is the problem. We have become a city of, I'm entitled to this. And unless you give it to me, I'm going to complain.
Does anybody ride bicycles anymore?
I see them every so often, but,
Not like we used to.
No, yeah, I know. I mean, I remember getting my first bike. It was like it was Paul's Schwinn.
Right across from Firestone.
Yep, Paul's Schwinn. That's where everybody would go. But, it's amazing what's happening to Fall River. We have what many people are calling a corrupt administration. We have something many people are calling a corrupt city council, an uncooperative city council. We have people who are saying the school department doesn't care about them. We have trouble meeting our bills. And what do you expect when a city is getting average $24,000 a year for a salary, but you get a guy who's getting $26,000 a year just to be there temporarily?
Well, the thing...
On top of his already probably 6-figure salary.
One of the things I'm noticing about public meetings recently, and you and I... we're at a park board meeting with 3 items on the agenda, and that was 4 hours. And last night the city council had 2 pages, and they were there till 12:30. And hello, make a decision, move on.
No, they don't understand that, and it just
everybody wants their airtime.
Yeah,
they want to speak for 20 minutes on every item.
The biggest mistake Fall River made was to broadcast all those meetings live or even taped, because you know what happens? They all got to be seen and heard. Hey, thanks for watching. Chip will be back on Friday. We will not have a show on Monday, but...
Well, Friday's Good Friday. Is the school open on Good Friday?
Yes, we are open Friday, so we will be here. Have a great day.
Happy Easter for those who I won't be seeing.
And stay angry.
Be sure to watch Friday.